Embracing all of life. This is message 399 in day 53 in the 8C challenge, and this message is dedicated to the memory of the wit and wisdom of Charlie Munger. One of the most powerful of life's equations is E plus R equals O. We've talked about this before. Do you remember what those variables stand for? Event, whatever happens, plus response, how you handle said event, equals the outcome, the result. You are in control of two of those three variables. Can you pick which ones? Well, let's walk through each one. Can you control everything that happens to you? I guess if you lock yourself in a vault, close yourself off from everything that you can, but I mean, even then, how are you going to eat? And you still can't control your body ultimately and totally maintain your health. Sorry to be morbid, but statistics on death are alarmingly high nowadays. One way or another, we're all moving toward that end. So one cannot control the E in that equation. Well, what about the R? Yes, that is always in our power. This is Covey's first habit. This is Frankel's last freedom. This is Stoic acceptance. This is Nietzsche's Amor Fati, loving fate. Well, we'll come back to this in a moment, but let's look at the last variable, the O. Do we control outcomes? It depends. I say yes, from the standpoint that if we respond by embracing all of life's events, then we have chosen the outcome. Epictetus, one of the Stoic philosophers, wrote, quote, "Do not seek to have events happen as you want them, but instead want them to happen, and your life will go well," end quote. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche said, quote, "My formula for what is great in mankind is amor fati. Do not wish for anything other than that which is, whether behind, ahead, or for all eternity. Not to just put up with the inevitable, but to love it. Not to just put up with the inevitable, much less hide from it from oneself. For all idealism is lying to oneself in the face of the necessary, but to love it," end quote. And this is not accepting fate, and I put that in quotes because I don't believe in impersonal fate, but personal providence. By that, I mean God. So this does not mean accepting fate or giving up. Charlie Munger was Warren Buffett's business partner at Berkshire Hathaway. He died recently at the age of 100. He was known for never seeing problems. He was proactive, for sure, in trying to avoid bad things from happening. But when something went sideways, he rolled with the punches in a very Vulcan-like, that's a Star Trek reference, Vulcan-like logic. He looked at the E, the event that presented itself, and adapted. One cannot reverse time or change the past. You can't fight an event. That's how many people respond, but it's a waste of time. Now, Charlie did what he could to change the future. He had a principal practice of what he called inversion. He would ask what could go wrong or look for examples of how others had made bad judgment in similar circumstances. And he worked to do the opposite. That's a pretty good tactic. If you anticipate that X problem could happen and then ask, well, what steps could I take to not let that happen? That's a pretty good tactic. So loving fate, or what I am calling loving providence, I think is the best way to control events. But so much rides on the R in this equation. This is always in your control, and it should be a goal to learn to get really good at having the best response to whatever life throws at us. And if you can add a providential attitude in with it, I think you will be best suited for an enjoyable journey through life. John Newton wrote, quote, "Everything is needful that he sends. Nothing can be needful that he withholds," end quote.